Hey everybody, welcome to eTrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Malone Downloader J-Style Kayak Carrier on our 2020 Chevy Traverse. Now, if you're looking at a way of getting the kayak to the water with you, I think this is going to be a really great option for you. We are getting a nice amount of contact points on here, and with the foam blockers that are underneath the kayak carrier, I think it's going to do a pretty decent job of making sure our kayaks are nice and secure and not taking any damage. Now, the thing I'd like to point out though, the foam isn't the biggest amount on there, so if you're really looking away of really making sure that we're not getting any kind of damage to our kayak, this may not be the best option. However, if we're working with a pretty standard kayak that's not going to be taking a lot of hits, we're not going to be too worried about that body detail, I think this is going to do a great option for us. Again, don't let me dissuade you, it's going to do a good job of actually preventing any damage to it. However, long-term use, as you're getting more and more rubbing on there, you might see a slight deterioration maybe in that paint and stuff like that, but nothing critical by any means. Another thing I really do like about it as well, you see we have these internal kind of contact points. Now this is where this really stands out to a lot of different J-styles out there for me. You are getting dedicated contact points for your strap, not only on here, but on the top side of the kayak as well. That can make it really easy of actually getting our straps up there. They're not going to be falling off to the side. We're not going to have to fighting it as we get the kayak up there, and we'll kind of show you that when we get the kayak up there. Another great thing about this as well, you can see it kind of has this little kind of like loading ramp feature on here. What's great is when I get this kayak kind of up here, especially when they start getting a lot more weighty and I'm just by myself, I can actually get my kayak up on here to help me slide up that extra inch, and that way I'm not worried about hurting my car, hurting my kayak, hurting myself. It makes it very easy to actually get it up on there. So let's go ahead and take a quick look of how we got the carrier and the kayak up there and talk about it a bit. So installation is going to be pretty straightforward. Taking a look at the bottom of our mount here, you can see we just have some bolts going through the middle on each side here. Taking a look, this is actually what's be securing us to our rail. As you can see, this is going to slide right underneath and start tightening itself down with these wing nuts we have included. So first you're going to do, take one side off. Get this nice and set on your bar. Try to prevent any kind of damage by gently setting it on there, and then just simply pulling in this bar. Now here you might need to loosen the other side a little bit just to start getting yourself a little bit more clearance there. And as you can see, we have a little bit of exposed thread. We're going to take our wing nut and reinsert it, and then kind of applying a little bit of pressure with that bottom knuckle, kind of where that thread starts, is really going to help you start finding that thread. And once that thread is found, as you can see, we can go ahead and start tightening that wing nut all the way to completion. Want to get it nice and tight, obviously not too tight that you're going to be, hurting yourself or this plastic knob, but making sure that we're getting a good rotation on it. It's going to make a very nice ride for our kayak and ourselves. So that'll probably do us. Give it a quick little shake. Seeing we're not getting too much play in there. Might go ahead and give it one more revolution like so. And now that we are actually looking at the cradle, let's take a look and see here. You can see we have just some easy little foam pads that are actually wrapped around here. You can go ahead and take these off if you want to give them a clean, which is pretty nice. That kayak might have a little bit of mud, might have a little bit of that lake water on there. So this can be a really easy way of actually taking that off, getting it nice and clean. The assembly of this is really simple too. If we want to go ahead and bring this down, all we have to do is actually pull out that arm. As you can see, that's going to open up our feet clamps here. And we can actually swing these all the way forward, all the way back. I don't really recommend having it sit like this, as you are going to get some contact on your bar on the far end. But as this goes all the way across, you can see you're just going to get a little bit of rubbing there. So I definitely recommend bringing it all the way back forward. As you can see, it's going to have a nice little rest in here. And we just simply press that lever back into place. Now, the thing with this guy, you only have one lever action here, so you might see it getting a little flimsy. If it does, all you'll need is like a 10mm wrench on this side. There's just a little bolt that will actually secure it down, and if you need to, you can tighten that. So to get this actually set in its J-style position, all we have to do is kind of walk it up, match where we want our dimension to be. And taking a look at that left side, as I mentioned, here's that bolt. If you do start seeing a little bit more play in these arms, all we got to do is tighten that down. It's going to make it nice and secure in here. Obviously not too tight that we can't easily utilize that lever system, but it is going to be nice to actually make sure that's secure. Take a look at the base here. We do see that we have kind of just like this foam rubber on the inside here. I think it's going to do an okay job. You're definitely not going to get a lot of shock absorption with this. However, it is raised, so I don't think we're going to have any issue with it hitting the hard plastic. It is going to be pretty malleable, so I don't think we're going to have any issue with this actually damaging our kayak. And taking a look at this end too on this, we're going to have the same kind of foam blocks here. Going to do a really good job of giving us a nice cushion. So I think the best way to do this is actually make sure that those straps that we have will be nice and tight, so we're not getting a lot of play, not going to have a lot of jostling. And let's go ahead and actually see how we can get those straps ran through this. So when we're taking our straps, we make sure we don't have any kinks going. I kind of know the way this is going to angle. We'll show you. We just want to throw this right through that top and start pulling this down all the way through. This is going to pull open our cam here. As you can see, we want this hanging just like so. This will be on our kayak like this, and our other ones are going to ratchet from the other side and bring it together. Now I kind of like taking this strap and just going through the base of our cross rail here. Now you don't have to do this. Malone does give you a lot of good tie down points on here, as we'll show you in a second. I just kind of like it though, makes it sure that it's nice and secure. We're not just relying on those wing nuts to hold our kayak there. However, they are going to do a good job. So I would actually just come through the bottom like so, and then doing a quick rotation around. As you can see, gonna get us a good contact on here, and as this strap comes around, we actually will just meet it like so. And you can see where we're actually going to be fitting our kayak into this hole. So, going to do a really good job of getting securance points. This is actually one thing I do really like about this Malone product. As you can see, we are getting these internal assembly, just kind of straps right through here. It's got to be some really good contact for us. And talking about this as well, you know, the strap, I would be careful when you get this kayak up on here, just making sure it's underneath so we can actually utilize this kind of boarding maneuver right here on this face. It's going to be a really easy way of running those straps through. Just to give you a quick idea of getting a kayak up on here, all we want to do, supporting both ends, you can kind of actually use the Malone's little side rails you can see to give a nice clean sweep up, and then just rotating it into the back of our J-style there, and making sure we're nice and evenly spread on either side. And now we can go ahead and get up top and get those straps set around. So this can actually be the hardest part of the install, is actually getting this strap over your kayak. I definitely recommend getting on the other side and just kind of tossing it over so it'll sit right here. Keep in mind, you do have a cam here, so I don't be too careful with it. Obviously, shooting for the open end can be helpful, or if you can just kind of slowly lay it down the other side, it's gonna be helpful for you. Maybe a second pair of hands can make it way easier. But I also know we might be some solo kayakers, so that might be the most difficult part with it. You just want to get on the other side and kind of toss it over. Now, walking to our strap here, we just simply want to walk this out till we don't have any kinks starting in it. Come through the back end of here as well. Then we can actually open up this lever and start inserting our strap through. And once we get it started, it's going to be a little bit of the hardest part. Go ahead and throw that tongue through, push down on our lever, and start taking it through itself quite nicely. We can go ahead and hold that top end down and just start pulling it nice and tight. That's going to get us in line with our kayak carrier, as you can see, getting us a nice tight fit. And we'll repeat the process on the other side. Now, the only thing that kind of stinks with this guy, we don't have any kind of like internal, holding mechanisms. So I definitely recommend, either picking up some zip ties that you might have at home, a ponytail holder might do it just enough to actually hold these guys, or we can actually stick the excess somewhere, maybe inside here, get it some kind of attachment point. But I definitely recommend getting a way to actually hold these down. We don't want these flopping around, hitting other people as we drive down the road. So anything we can do to secure this to our rack, it's going to really help us in the long run. Now, Malone does actually include some tie-down anchors for our bow and stern straps. Why that's going to be great, we don't want that kayak playing on either end. That will end up kind of loosening those straps on the J-style, so we make sure we're nice and secured. Today, we've gone ahead and just thrown this little hook where we can today, looking like right inside that frame. Can be a pretty good option for us. As you can see, going to get a good contact. That hook's not going to be popping out anytime soon. Now, here's where I might recommend, we do have some dog bone anchor styles that are available at eTrailer.com, and those can make it really easy of just actually sticking it inside here, trap it underneath our hood, trap it in the back. That way we're not having to hook, find some hooks. This frame can be a little bit in the way, and also, this rope, after quite a while of use, I could see this starting to unbraid, starting to fray, start getting a little bit of trouble there. So I might look at getting a little bit of a thinner anchor to actually hold us on. But for what comes included with the kit, it's definitely going to do its job of actually securing that down. I think it's going to last you a pretty decent amount of time of actually getting this on there. So let's go ahead, close this hood, and then once we do, we'll go ahead and actually tighten this down all the way to at the top here. So this is actually where we're making that tight connection here. We can go ahead and just pull that through. You see, getting a little bit of play here isn't going to be too great. So we'll go ahead and take out that slack just a little bit, and we'll go ahead and repeat that process onto our stern. So, as we can see, that installation was pretty simple, and getting the kayak on there, definitely not too hard at all. I do like how it comes with most of the straps. I'm not the biggest fan of the bow and stern strap. As I said, I'd recommend maybe picking up a different kind of strap kit. Definitely something that has a dog bone in it. They're just those little foam blockers. Make it way easier to actually get those anchors down. If you're looking for a keyword for that, tie down anchor is probably going to be the best way to find those. But taking a look as well, you know, I do like how these foam blockers are in the middle. As I mentioned before, I don't think they are going to do the best job of really giving us a lot of support, but they aren't going to prevent any kind of critical damage to our kayak. Definitely not going to have any bumps or anything like that. And also the dedicated strap points are my biggest sell for the Malone, and also this loading ramp makes it really easy just to slide it on. I like how these make it really easy, especially when it's just myself and I can get those straps through there and they're not falling, they're not fighting it constantly. It's just one more headache that it removes. The lever actions are also very easy to use. You will see those in a lot of styles, but just the one lever makes it really easy. Then I'm not fighting with two things, making sure that each one's going to fit one and done makes it nice and simple for us. Well, if you're looking for a way of getting the kayak to the water with you, I think this is definitely going to be a good option. I think that about does it for a look at the Malone Downloader Kayak J-Style Carrier on our 2020 Chevy Traverse. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.